You can make them laugh, you can make them think, but if you make them feel something, they'll never forget you. Have you ever sent a message and then waited? I mean, really waited. You stare at your phone like it's a crystal ball. You keep checking, refreshing, wondering. Did they see it? Did you say too much? Too little? You try to act unbothered, but inside, you're spiraling. You question your worth over a few pixels on a screen. And here's the truth, my friends. You're not needy. You're human. But you've been taught wrong. You've been told that texting is about saying the right thing, being clever, funny, charming. But let me break that lie right now. It's not what you say, it's how you show up. Most people are out here texting to get a reaction. But the ones who win, the ones they can't stop thinking about, text to leave an impression. That's the difference between attention and attraction. And that's what we're about to tap into today. Before we dive deep, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're ready to move different, and type this in the comments. Presence over pressure. Show yourself, show them, show the world. Hey folks, imagine this. You walk into a room and you don't say a word. No flashy outfit, no loud jokes. You just stand there, calm, composed, certain. And yet, everyone notices. Why? Because presence doesn't need permission. It doesn't beg for validation. It just is. That same presence, you can carry that through your phone. Through every word, every pause, every silence. It's not about texting more. It's about texting with weight. Most people are noise. You become the echo they can't ignore. And here's where the fun begins. You can either be the person who sends, "Hey, what's up?" and fades into the background, or you can be the person whose words make them stop, reread, and wonder about you for days. Because texting isn't a tool for approval. It's a mirror of your mindset. Are you leading the conversation, or are you chasing after it like a shadow? The Stoics had it right. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." That applies here too. Waste no more time wondering what the perfect message is. Be the person whose messages feel rare. Be the one who doesn't need to rush, doesn't need to prove, doesn't need to perform. You're not here to impress. You're here to express clarity, confidence, and calm power. In this video, we're diving into 7 texting secrets they can't resist. Not because you're trying to manipulate them, but because you're finally showing up as the man who doesn't need to chase energy. You are the energy. You'll learn how to spark curiosity without trying too hard, how to build anticipation without giving everything away, and how to connect deeply without ever sounding desperate. It's not about learning tricks. It's about unlocking presence. It's about embodying something most people never will: emotional control, self-awareness, and quiet strength. Texting, when done right, becomes less about what do I say and more about who am I being. And when you move from that space, something changes. They feel it, they sense it, and they respond. Not just with words, but with attention, with curiosity, with energy. So stay with me. Because what you're about to learn isn't just a texting strategy, it's a shift in how you show up in every interaction, every message, every moment. Say it with me in the comments. Text with purpose. Like the video, subscribe. Let's build something deeper. Let's begin. Texting secret number 1. The power of the open loop. People don't resist answers. They resist endings. Have you ever read the first sentence of a book and suddenly found yourself 10 pages in without even realizing it? That's not just good writing, that's emotional gravity, that's curiosity pulling your soul forward like a string wrapped around your ribcage. That same force, if you understand it, can be used in your texts, not to trick them, but to invite them in. Now imagine this. You get a text that says, "Something weird reminded me of you today." And then, nothing. Just that. No follow-up, no explanation, just silence. What happens next? Your brain starts racing. You wonder what it was. Was it something funny? Something meaningful? Something awkward? You feel an emotional itch you can't quite scratch. That, my friend, is the power of an open loop. Most people close the loop too quickly. They overshare. They text with nervous energy. They try to explain everything in one message as if their entire worth depends on it. They think if they say more, they'll get more. But here's the truth. The more you give away, the less room you leave for imagination. The lie many of you have been sold is this: if you don't say it all now, they'll lose interest. But the opposite is true. When you always explain, always answer, always fill the silence, you don't build connection. You kill curiosity. You become predictable, safe, forgettable. And that's not what creates emotional pull. Think of a cliffhanger in a great show. Right before the episode ends, someone opens a door, their eyes widen, and you hear a gasp. But the screen cuts to black. You're left hanging. Your mind explodes with theories. That's not an accident. That's intentional storytelling. And texting, when done right, is storytelling in digital form. But here's why it's hard. Most people don't trust silence. They fear being misunderstood. They fear being ignored. They think, if I don't explain, they'll get bored. Or, if I don't say enough, they'll move on. But Stoicism teaches us otherwise. Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. And I'll add this: if it's not necessary, don't text it. Not because you're playing games, but because you value impact over noise. Texting isn't about filling time, it's about creating moments, and every message you send should either deepen curiosity, heighten emotion, or expand connection. If it doesn't, it's just static in their mental inbox. Let's break down the open loop. It's simple in structure, but powerful in execution. You send something incomplete, a sentence that demands a follow-up. But here's the key. You don't provide that follow-up too quickly. You let them lean forward. You let them feel the gap. You allow the silence to speak louder than your explanation. It might sound like this: I realized something wild about you today. Or, you popped into my mind for the strangest reason. Even better, can I be honest? You probably won't believe what I just thought about you. That's it. No explanation, no punchline. Just presence wrapped in a question mark. Now they're emotionally involved. Now their brain is trying to close the loop you intentionally left open, and in doing so, you shift the power. Not in a manipulative way, in a magnetic one. You're not trying to pull them in, you're letting them come to you. This is difficult at first, I get it, especially if you've been conditioned to chase approval, to over-explain, to make sure they know you're interested. But when you text with an open loop, you're trusting your energy to speak. You're allowing silence to do the heavy lifting. And when they reply, and they will, you still don't rush. You don't spill everything. You guide the conversation like a river through carved stone, slowly, smoothly, powerfully. If they ask, what was it? You might say, it's a bit strange, but let me ask you this first. Boom. You've opened another loop. Now they're even more curious. Now they're engaged, not with a punchline, but with a path. That's how emotional depth is built. Not with fireworks, but with a flame that stays lit. Stoicism reminds us to practice delayed gratification, to hold our ground when emotion wants to spill. And that applies here too. You don't need to rush the story. You don't need to prove your worth. You are not texting to be chosen. You are texting from the clarity that you've already chosen yourself. When you understand this, your entire energy shifts. You stop waiting for reactions. You stop needing validation. You start texting like a man who leads with calm intention, not chaotic emotion. Here's the metaphor I want you to carry. Imagine your message is a door slightly ajar in a quiet room. Not wide open, not locked shut. Just enough space to make someone want to step inside and see more. That's the open loop. That's the art. So before you send your next text, pause. Ask yourself, does this message spark curiosity? Does it invite them to respond? Or does it explain too much too soon? Leave space, let the silence breathe, and watch how the dynamic begins to shift. Because they're not resisting you, they're resisting boredom, they're resisting noise. But when your words create mystery, when your presence feels rare, when your silence has weight, they feel it, and they respond to it. So the next time you reach for your phone, don't send noise, send energy, send presence, send a spark that makes them want to lean closer, not scroll away. You're not here to text like everyone else. You're here to communicate with clarity, confidence, and calm fire. Say it with me in the comments. Mystery creates movement. Write it down, show yourself, show them, show the world around you. Because the next secret we're about to unlock, it'll take this to another level. Stay with me, we're just getting started. Texting secret number 2, tension over clarity. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. That quote hits deeper than most people realize because it exposes a truth too many ignore. You don't become unforgettable by being liked, you become unforgettable by being felt. And the bridge between being seen and being felt is tension, emotional tension. The kind that makes someone lean forward instead of scroll away. The kind that lingers in their mind hours after your message disappears. And that tension, my friend, is not built by clarity, it's built by restraint. Picture this. You're sitting in a dark movie theater. The soundtrack drops to silence. The lead character stands in front of a door, hand reaching, breath slowing. You know something's about to happen, but the camera doesn't show you. Not yet. The moment stretches. Suspense tightens. You stop blinking. Why? Because you feel the tension. That pause, just seconds long, pulls you deeper than dialogue ever could. That, right there, is the secret most people miss in texting. They think connection is built by saying more, sharing more, replying faster. But the truth is, what they crave isn't information, it's sensation. And tension is the invisible thread that keeps them connected. But let's be honest, tension scares people. We've been taught that silence is rejection, that space means danger. So what do most people do? They rush, they clarify, they fill the gap. They send another message to keep the energy alive. But here's the harsh truth. The moment you chase clarity, you lose mystery. And without mystery, there is no desire. You become comfortable, predictable, easily ignored. And that's not attractive. It's convenient. And convenience is not remembered. They'll tell you, don't play games. But this isn't a game. This is presence. This is pacing. This is energy. The Stoics understood that power isn't always in action. It's in control. Epictetus said, no great thing is created suddenly. He wasn't just talking about buildings or careers. He was talking about self-mastery, the ability to hold back, to choose your moment, to move from stillness rather than anxiety. That's what you bring into your texts when you choose tension over clarity. It's not about ignoring them. It's about not rushing yourself. You're not trying to impress. You're trying to express something deeper, that you are rooted, not reactive. So how does this look practically? It starts with one simple shift. Don't give everything away. You don't have to answer every question immediately. You don't have to explain every thought. You don't have to turn every message into a full story. Sometimes the most powerful message is half a sentence and a pause. Let's say they ask, what are you doing this weekend? You could reply with your full schedule, gym, brunch, maybe Netflix. But that's surface level. There's no edge. Now imagine instead you say something loud, something quiet, and maybe something I shouldn't tell you yet. That's it. That's all. And now they're curious. They're wondering. You've just made space for their imagination, and imagination always outruns explanation. Or maybe it's late. You're texting back and forth. They send something flirtatious. Most people would mirror it back instantly. But you pause. You say, I could reply to that, but I don't think you're ready for the version of me that shows up after midnight. You didn't give a direct answer. You didn't overplay. You just built a wall of curiosity and let the silence do the rest. That's tension. That's emotional pull. And that's how you break the pattern most people live in: oversharing, over-explaining, overreaching. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if they lose interest? What if they think I'm not interested? What if they pull away? Those questions don't come from clarity. They come from fear. And Stoicism doesn't feed fear. It confronts it. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The anxiety you feel around holding tension isn't based on what's real. It's based on your habit of seeking reassurance. But reassurance isn't connection. It's comfort. And comfort doesn't ignite attraction. It dulls it. So here's the shift. When you don't respond right away, you're not ghosting. You're anchoring. When you leave part of a thought hanging, you're not being vague. You're building anticipation. When you resist the urge to fill every silence, you're not being cold. You're giving your words weight. Your energy becomes rare, and rare energy creates emotional gravity. They'll notice it too. They'll feel the difference. You're not reacting, you're responding with control. You're not seeking attention, you're commanding presence. That makes you different. That makes you unforgettable. Because you're not rushing to be chosen. You've already chosen to lead with calm, with poise, with precision. You've stopped trying to keep the vibe and instead started being the vibe. So let's flip the pattern. The next time you text, slow down. Leave gaps. Make them wonder. If they ask, "What did you mean by that?" don't jump to answer. Instead say, "That's for another day." Or, "Let me ask you something first." This isn't coyness, it's pacing. And pacing is everything. Remember, a good story doesn't drop the ending on page 2. It builds, it lingers, it whispers, and when the moment finally comes, it lands. That's what you're doing. You're writing a story. And your words are the rhythm. Don't rush the melody. Let it unfold. Let the silence sing between the lines. Because when your texts carry tension, they stop being words. They become experiences. Say this with me in the comments. Tension creates desire. Write it down. Stamp it into your mindset. Show the world. And keep walking with me. Because what's coming next? We're not just sparking curiosity, we're turning it into emotional depth. Stay with me. We're only getting more powerful. Texting secret number 3, the precision compliment. Flattery is all right if you don't inhale. Let's not sugarcoat it. Most compliments are weak. Not because the words are wrong, but because the intention behind them is hollow. Most people give compliments hoping to get something back. Attention, validation, approval. They think saying, "You're beautiful," will make someone feel seen. But if they've heard it 100 times before, it doesn't land. It doesn't move them. It doesn't mean anything. It becomes background noise in a world already drowning in empty praise. And this is where most men fall into the trap, trying to be liked instead of being felt. Now, let's go deeper. Imagine walking into an art gallery. Everyone's crowding around a loud, colorful painting near the front. It's bright, obvious, easy to admire. But you wander off into a quieter corner. There's a piece on the wall, subtle, textured, hidden in shadows. You step closer. You notice the detail, the depth, the layers. And suddenly, you feel something shift. That's the moment you connect with it. Not because it screamed for attention, but because you saw something most people didn't. That's what a real compliment is. Not shouting about beauty, but whispering recognition where it's rare. So let's break the lie. The world will tell you, just be nice. Tell them they look good. Compliment their eyes, their smile, their outfit. And sure, those things can be kind. But kind isn't the same as memorable. Anyone can notice what's visible, but very few people notice what's valuable. That's where your power lives. In the precision, in the depth, in the silence before you speak, where you observe before you react. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca said, "We should praise not what is common, but what is rare. Beauty is common, wit is common, even style is common. But what's rare? Presence, integrity, emotional stillness, vision, vulnerability without drama." When you compliment from that space, when your words reflect not just what they show, but who they are, you hit something deeper than attraction. You strike connection. Let's get practical. Instead of "you're so pretty," try "there's something about your silence that feels grounded." Most people don't know how to sit in stillness like that. Instead of "you have a great smile," say "the way you soften when you laugh. It's like you forget to filter yourself." That's rare. Instead of "you're hot," say "you have a stillness in you that doesn't beg to be seen." And that's what makes you unforgettable. These aren't lines, these are reflections. You're not performing, you're perceiving. You're showing them that you see what most don't see. And that, more than charm, more than flirting, is magnetic. But here's why most people can't do this. It takes attention, real attention. You can't compliment like this if you're texting 5 other people at the same time, half scrolling through social media, waiting for validation to land in your inbox. You have to pay attention. And the man who pays attention stands out in a world addicted to distraction. He doesn't just look, he sees. He doesn't just speak, he feels. And when he gives a compliment, it lands. Timing matters too. Don't throw these compliments out at random. That weakens their weight. Wait for a moment. When they share something real about their goals, their stress, their dreams, their fears, that's your opportunity. That's when you reflect back something they didn't even know was visible. And that reflection, that's where connection is born. Let's say they open up about something difficult they overcame. Most people would say, "Wow, you're strong." But you say, "It's rare to see someone who goes through something like that and still leads with softness." That tells me more about your strength than any story ever could. Now you're not just complimenting the outcome, you're honoring the essence. And that's unforgettable. You might be thinking, "But I don't know what to say. I'm not good with words." That's not the problem. The problem is you're still trying to say something instead of trying to feel something. Let it come from presence. Let it come from stillness. Compliments aren't about being clever. They're about being connected. And when you speak from that place, you don't need the perfect words. You just need the real ones. Here's the deeper truth. When you compliment their character, their depth, their mind, you're also revealing your own values. You're showing them what you notice, what you respect, and in doing so, you stop sounding like every other guy chasing beauty, and you start sounding like a man who resonates with depth. You attract not just their attention, but their alignment. This is what most men never realize. Compliments are not about getting a reaction. They're about expressing alignment. I see you, and what I see speaks to something I value. That's the kind of statement that stays with someone, not because it flatters them, but because it grounds them. And yes, you can still compliment appearance, but when you do, make it specific, make it textured, not "you're hot," but "there's something about the way you walk. It's confident without trying to be, like your energy enters before your words do." That's how you give even a surface-level observation soul. That's how you take something common and make it personal. So here's your practice. Before you compliment, ask, what do I actually admire here? What moves me that most people overlook? Then reflect that back with presence. No pressure, no agenda, no trying to get anything. just recognition. That's what builds attraction that doesn't fade. That's what makes your words carry weight days, weeks, even months later. You're not just texting, you're leaving fingerprints. The Stoic in you doesn't flatter. He honors. He doesn't overtalk. He observes. He doesn't rush to praise. He waits until it matters. And when he finally speaks, it's not to impress. It's to express what is rare, what is real, what is worthy of being seen. Say it with me in the comments. Depth over decoration. Write it, claim it, show them, show yourself. Show the world that you're not here to recycle empty words. You're here to reflect value. And what's coming next? We're turning this emotional precision into momentum. Stay with me. It only gets deeper. Texting secret number 4, digital masculine energy. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Now pause. Read that again. Because what you bring into your thoughts, you bring into your words. And in the world of texting, your energy precedes your message. Long before they read your words, they feel your presence or your absence. You don't need to say, "I'm confident," for confidence to arrive. You don't have to type, "I'm calm," for calm to radiate. Your energy doesn't hide. It leaks through every pause, every punctuation, every silence. And if you don't learn to master that energy, you'll keep wondering why you say all the right things and still get the wrong results. Let's be real. Most people text like they're performing, like they're applying for a position in someone else's life. Their energy is scattered, inconsistent, needy. They send 3 messages, then double back to fix the tone. They try to sound funny, interesting, smart, sexy, all in one paragraph. And instead of coming across as intentional, they come across as chaotic. What's missing isn't cleverness, it's centeredness. Think of digital masculine energy like a still mountain in a storm. The winds might howl, the rain might fall, but the mountain doesn't move. It doesn't beg the weather to calm. It simply exists, strong, rooted, unshaken. When you text from that kind of energy, from presence, not performance, something shifts. They feel the difference. They may not know why they're drawn to you, but they are. And it's not the words, it's the weight behind them. This is the trap most fall into. They think texting is about saying the perfect thing, so they overthink every message. They reread it 3 times. They change a word here, an emoji there. They send it, then wait in quiet panic, watching, refreshing, doubting. They lose themselves in a spiral of self-monitoring, and what they don't realize is that energy bleeds through. It's felt. It repels. You're not texting just to be heard. You're texting to project energy. And energy doesn't come from what you type. It comes from where you're typing from. Are you sending that message from peace or panic? From power or performance? From fullness or fear? Because that's what they'll pick up on. Not just the message, but the frequency behind it. Digital masculine energy is minimalist. It doesn't need to explain itself. It doesn't rush to fill silence. It doesn't chase for closure. It leads with stillness. It speaks when it has something to say, not to get a reaction, not to provoke attention, but to create movement. Just enough, just precise, just impactful. And here's where the Stoic wisdom comes alive. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time worrying about what others think of you. Just be the thing you wish they'd see." That applies in every conversation. Most people try to convince someone they're worth it. But the masculine presence doesn't argue. It doesn't prove. It simply shows up as the proof, through tone, through timing, through restraint. You ever notice how some people text long paragraphs, desperate to be understood, while others send one calm sentence and still get the energy pulled toward them? That's no accident. That's alignment. That's energetic precision. That's leadership in digital form. And it can be you if you stop chasing clarity and start embodying presence. Let's go deeper. Instead of texting back instantly every time you get a notification, you pause. You check in with yourself. You ask, what energy am I in right now? Because if you're texting from anxiety, don't. If you're texting from need, pause. If you're trying to force a response, step back. You are not a boy seeking approval. You are a man choosing alignment. Even your phrasing changes when you operate from digital masculine energy. You don't say, I just wanted to check if you're still interested. You say, I noticed the energy shifted. Let's pick this up when it feels aligned. You don't say, do you think I said something wrong? You say nothing at all and let your silence do the talking. And when you do speak, you speak simply, clearly, with space, no walls of text, no overcompensating. Just the truth, sharpened and shaped by awareness. You don't talk to be impressive. You speak to be felt. Your messages stop being explanations and start becoming experiences. Here's a visual. Imagine you're in a room with them. They say something flirty. Do you jump into a performance, or do you lean back, lock eyes, and let the silence stretch? That silence says everything. It says you're comfortable. It says you're confident. It says you don't need to rush to be validated. Now apply that same energy to your texts. Slow it down. Drop the pressure. Create pauses. Make room for impact. Most people fear silence, but the masculine presence commands it, because when you're anchored, you don't fear space, you use it. That's why fewer words from a grounded man feel more intimate than an essay from someone insecure. It's not the volume, it's the vibration. It's not the typing speed, it's the state you typed it from. Now, this takes practice. You might slip, you might overthink, you might feel tempted to chase when they don't reply in 5 minutes. That's okay. That's your old programming. But from this point on, you get to choose differently. You get to show up not as someone desperate to be seen, but as someone so deeply aligned with their worth that even your silence feels like a gift. That's the shift. And once you feel it, you'll never go back. Because something changes when you start texting like a mountain, not a weather pattern. They notice, they slow down, they listen. You stop being noise, you start being signal, you stop being cute, you start being calm. And in a world where everyone is trying to be loud, calm becomes unforgettable. Say this with me in the comments. Energy leads everything. Write it down, stamp it into your mind. Show the world who you're becoming, not through force, but through frequency. And stay with me, because up next, we're going to dive into the silent weapon most men overlook, the power of delay. When you learn to master it, you'll never chase another reply again. Let's keep going. You're just getting started. Texting secret number 5, delay is the weapon. But let's be honest, freedom doesn't always feel like power at first. Especially when your heart races after you've sent a message and the screen stays quiet. When hours turn to silence. When you start overanalyzing the last thing you said. When you feel that familiar pull to grab your phone, to follow up, to just check in. That urge, that itch to break the silence, is where most people lose their power. But what if I told you that silence isn't your enemy? What if I told you that delay, yes, the very thing you're scared of, is actually one of your greatest weapons in attraction? Most people don't want to hear that. Because we live in a culture of instant everything, instant messages, instant validation, instant answers. But human emotion, human connection, that's not microwavable. That's firewood. And firewood needs time to burn. Delay isn't a punishment, it's presence, it's space. And it's that very space that allows desire to breathe. See, when someone delays their reply, most people panic. But Stoic attraction doesn't operate in panic. It operates in patience. Because the person who doesn't need to respond instantly is the person who's not controlled by fear, and that makes you dangerous, in the best way. Let's break the lie. We've been taught, if you don't reply fast, they'll lose interest. False. They don't lose interest because you're slow. They lose interest because your energy becomes predictable, reactive, available at all times. And anything that's always available eventually loses its impact. But when you become the person who responds intentionally instead of immediately, something changes. You stop feeling like background noise. You start becoming a presence they wait for. Here's the metaphor. Imagine walking into a room filled with chatter. Everyone's talking fast all at once. But in the corner sits someone still, calm. They don't rush to speak. But when they do, everyone stops to listen. That person doesn't dominate the room with volume. They dominate with timing. They move slow, but every word hits. That is the power of delay. That is the energy your messages can carry. But this is where the challenge lives. Most people text to relieve anxiety, not to communicate. They text because silence feels unbearable, because waiting feels like rejection, because being ignored feels personal. But Stoicism reminds us, you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotional impulse. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And that includes when someone does or doesn't text you back. That includes how long you choose to wait before responding. So how do you weaponize delay without turning it into a game? You delay not to manipulate, but to mature your message, to return to your center, to respond from alignment, not emotional reactivity. It means you don't reply when you're anxious. You don't type when your mind is spiraling. You sit, you breathe, you observe, and then when you're calm, you respond. Not to get a reaction, but to reflect your truth. That right there is discipline, and discipline breeds magnetism. This is especially powerful when things get emotionally charged. Maybe they go quiet. Maybe they say something that triggers you. Most people would rush in with an explanation, an apology, a question, a follow-up. But when you delay, when you choose stillness over scrambling, you signal something very few people have, emotional authority. And that is rare, that is attractive, that is unforgettable. Think of it like this. Texting isn't tennis. You're not trying to hit every ball that comes your way. Sometimes the strongest move is letting it bounce. Watching, waiting, reclaiming your rhythm before you re-engage. Because you're not texting to prove anything, you're texting to preserve your frequency. And when you do reply, you reply with depth, with grounded tone, with words that hold weight. You don't say, sorry for the late reply, I was just busy. You say, had to sit with that one. Or, wanted to give this the right energy before responding. You don't apologize for silence. You let your presence fill it. That's the masculine edge. That's digital sovereignty. You stop being the one who rushes to explain and become the one who speaks with purpose. But yes, it's uncomfortable at first. You'll feel the urge to break the silence. You'll hear that voice in your head whispering, they're losing interest. Say something. And that's when you remember, silence doesn't mean absence. It means space. And space is where emotion begins to build. You're not being forgotten. You're being remembered in absence. You're becoming the message that lingers instead of the one that fades. The presence that echoes instead of the one that gets skipped. And when you do reply, you're not just another notification. You're a moment. So here's your shift. Start delaying with intention. Let your pauses be felt. Let your absence carry weight. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're playing true to self. You respond only when the energy feels right. Not because you're afraid to lose them, but because you've already decided not to lose yourself. Let them wonder. Let them wait. Let them feel that your silence isn't empty. It's full of presence. That every time you don't text out of panic, you reinforce your power. That every time you do respond with clarity, you show them who you really are. This isn't detachment, it's direction. You're not avoiding connection, you're deepening it. You're not afraid of being forgotten, because the version of you that speaks from wholeness, that version is never forgotten. Say this with me in the comments. I delay to lead. Write it, feel it, show yourself, show the world that you're not rushing to be received, you're choosing to resonate. And stay with me. Because the next secret, it's about something deeper than strategy. It's about how to reflect emotional intelligence so powerfully. They feel seen by just a few words. We're not here to text like everyone else. We're here to lead in silence, speak with substance, and become unforgettable. Let's keep going. Texting, secret number 6, the emotional mirror. We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. And that's the entire secret, isn't it? In texting, most people don't realize they're not just exchanging words, they're projecting emotion. Every reply is a reflection. Every silence is a statement. Every message, whether sent or withheld, doesn't just communicate content, it communicates state. And here's the truth. They respond not to your words, but to your energy. And the person who masters that energy becomes the mirror, not the shadow. Most people text from their emotional need, not from emotional awareness. They send a message hoping for reassurance. They say, "Hey, are you okay?" But what they really mean is, "Please show me I haven't been forgotten." They ask questions, not out of curiosity, but out of fear. And that fear bleeds through the screen. It may sound polite, caring, even thoughtful, but it's heavy. And the weight isn't attractive, it's draining. But when you shift from seeking emotional reassurance to mirroring emotional energy, you start texting like a Stoic. You begin to observe instead of react. You stop asking, "What should I say to fix this?" and start asking, "What energy am I receiving, and what energy do I want to reflect?" That changes everything. Let's say they go cold. They stop responding as often. They pull back. Most people panic. They send double texts. They chase. They try to reignite what feels like it's fading. But a Stoic doesn't chase fire. They observe the wind. They notice. They adjust. They mirror. So instead of filling the silence with effort, you match the stillness with presence. You don't withdraw in bitterness. You reflect with grace. You might say, "Seems like life got a little busy. Let's catch up when the energy's right." Calm, controlled, clear. You didn't beg for attention. You reinforced your boundary. Because mirroring isn't passive. It's awareness turned into direction. It's you saying, "I will meet you where you are, but I won't drown to reach you." When you mirror with intention, you're not copying. You're leading. You're showing them how emotional intelligence feels. You're setting a new rhythm, one that says, "I feel you, but I don't chase you. I notice, but I don't collapse. I care, but I will not carry the conversation alone." That's what most people have never felt. A conversation that respects their space without abandoning its power. And yes, it's hard at first, because the urge to fix, to clarify, to be understood, it's strong. But that urge isn't love. It's fear dressed in urgency. The Stoic doesn't suppress their emotion. They guide it. They shape it. They use it to elevate the moment, not to escape it. So ask yourself, am I texting to be seen? Or am I reflecting what I truly value? Am I trying to get closer to them? Or am I trying to get back to myself? Mirroring doesn't mean playing cold. It means moving with grace, with control, with emotional clarity. And when you do this right, they feel it, even through a screen. They feel your presence in your pause. They feel your strength in your silence. They feel your maturity in your mirroring. Say it in the comments. I reflect, not chase. Own it. Show it. Let your words and your energy become the mirror they didn't know they needed. Stay with me. What's next might just change how you end every conversation from now on. Texting secret number 7. End every thread with mystery, not closure. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. Let that sink in. Because in a world obsessed with answers, the person who can hold uncertainty becomes unforgettable. Most people rush to resolve. They feel the need to wrap every conversation in a bow, to explain every thought, to end every text with clarity and completeness. But attraction doesn't thrive in answers. It thrives in imagination. And that's why your final messages, your closing lines, your exits should never be full stops. They should be open doors. The truth is, most conversations die not because they lack depth, but because they lack momentum. They end like a story with all the pages read. No hook, no wonder, no what comes next. And so, the energy fades. But when you leave a thread slightly open, when your last message creates just enough mystery, it invites them back. Not out of politeness, but out of pull. This is where most people go wrong. They try too hard to be polite, to be perfect, to say the right thing. They end a conversation with, "Okay, talk later," or "good night," and wonder why it always fizzles. But a man of presence knows better. He knows the final message is not the end. It's the echo. It's the impression you leave long after the words stop scrolling. So instead of closing with certainty, close with suggestion. Instead of tying everything up, leave a thread undone. Say something that lingers. That makes them wonder. That makes them think about you even after the phone is locked. You could say, "I'll tell you the rest of that story another time. It deserves a better setting." Or, "Let's leave this here for now." You didn't just end the conversation. You gave it a future. You gave it gravity. And this is not a trick. It's not about manipulation. It's about pace. About understanding that emotional impact is built through rhythm. Just like a great movie doesn't give you every answer in the final scene, it gives you a reason to come back. So do your messages. You don't need to end with clarity. End with presence, with a pause, with the confidence that you don't need to be constantly explaining to stay in their mind. Because mystery is motion. It keeps the emotional current alive. It doesn't demand, it invites. It says, "There's more to this, and I trust you'll return when you're ready to feel it." Now here's the deeper layer. When you leave space, you signal security. You show that you don't fear being forgotten, that your presence is strong enough to echo, that you are not clinging, you're offering. That's the kind of energy that isn't just attractive, it's rare. And in a digital world where everyone is trying to be more, say more, prove more, you become the man who does less, but means more. So this is your final shift. Stop chasing closure. Start creating curiosity. Let the conversation live beyond the screen. Let your silence speak louder than goodnight texts. Let your presence become the space they want to return to, not because you begged, but because you became magnetic by being measured. Say this with me in the comments. I leave a mark, not a message. Write it, breathe it, live it. And if this series spoke to you, if it shook something loose, gave you clarity, grounded your voice, then show it. Hit that like button, subscribe. Because this isn't the end. This is the beginning of how you show up, not just in texts, but in life. You're not here to be remembered for your words. You're here to be felt through your presence. Live that truth, carry that weight, and let every message mirror the man you're becoming.